Nationwide Radio.
The breaking news is brought to you by the Contractor Center, providing building solutions for everyday challenges.
Good morning, listeners. At 11:25 a.m. on this Monday, February 2, 2026, Nationwide News can report that Julian SIlvera, the former Member of Parliament for Western St. Mary, has given instructions to his attorney to change his plea to guilty in the matter concerning the death of his wife, Melissa SIlvera. We understand that Julian SIlvera's plea is his position, his instructions are that his plea be changed to guilty relating to the charge of manslaughter. That is what we understand, not murder. He's not pleading guilty to murder, but that he's pleading guilty, he wants to plead guilty to a charge of manslaughter. Now, it's of course up to the prosecution to determine if they will accept that course of action in this matter. But a significant turn of events, and we understand that it follows the publication of ballistics evidence. Of course, the government will have its own evidence from the ballistics office. The defense will have, of course, sought to get their own, and based on how both sets of tests correspond and the overlay, we have been made to understand that it is the considered opinion of the man at the center of this matter, Julian SIlvera, that his plea be officially recorded as guilty to the charge of manslaughter. I repeat, Julian SIlvera, we understand, has told his lawyers that he wants to plead guilty to the charge of manslaughter in the matter concerning the death of his wife, Melissa SIlvera, at the couple's matrimonial home. We'll have much more on this story in subsequent newscasts.
The breaking news was brought to you by the Contractor Center, providing building solutions for everyday challenges.
Well, welcome back, listeners. Massive breaking news item there from Nationwide's George Davis, the former People's National Party Member of Parliament for St. Mary Western, Julian SIlvera, we are being told is to enter a plea of guilty to the charge of manslaughter in relation to the death of his wife. Yeah. And of course, that case, that trial there in the gun court, the 52-year-old businessman was arrested and charged on January 18, 2024. He was charged with murder, but as you heard there from George, what he has pled guilty to is the lesser charge of manslaughter. Yes, he has been in custody since the shooting death of his wife, I think, in November 2023. I think based on reportage here that I'm looking at, previous reportage. Massive development there in this story. It is one that has been on the radar. People have been watching it. There have been some developments in relation to the media being able to cover it and so on and so forth, the media not being allowed to cover the matter. We're hearing now that the 52-year-old businessman that was arrested and charged with murder has pled guilty to, or is to plead guilty to, manslaughter in relation to the death of his wife, Melissa, in November in November 2023. Right. So we'll have greater details, further and better particulars for you in subsequent newscasts. But this is a major development, and we will definitely keep you posted on this one. We're pretty close to our next break, yeah? So let's take the break and come back with more of your calls. By this Monday edition of Cliff Hughes Online, if you're just joining us, we are returning from the break, fresh from a major breaking news item there from Nationwide's George Davis in relation to the trial of former People's National Party Member of Parliament for St. Mary Western, Julian SIlvera, who was charged with murder, the murder of his wife, and look, the matter is being tried in the gun court. The 52-year-old businessman was arrested and charged on January 18, 2024 with murder and had been in custody since the shooting death of his wife, Melissa. Of course, you remember the details. It wasn't initially thought to be a murder until the post-mortem was done. Look, lots and lots to be explained in this particular trial. And I know it's one that the public has been looking to. Look, man, I'm telling you, this is a major, major development. We're talking about a former legislator, in our country, being charged with the murder of his wife, and we're now being told that he is to plead guilty, not to the charge of murder, but to manslaughter. And then we'll see how the Crown takes it from there. We, of course, we'll continue to watch this one for you, and we will try to, of course, get the people with the expertise to talk about where we go from here in future programs. I'm told, though, is Delroy still on the line? Delroy, are you there? No, it doesn't seem we have Delroy. Sorry about that, Delroy, but we have that clip, though, from the PNP's media conference that at least 3 people have called about in relation to what has happened to the funds the PNP collected for victims of or persons affected by the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Nora, are we ready for the clip? Let's take the clip now. All right, are we still preparing it?
In this matter, I did make a promise to my listeners that I would ask this the next time I had an opportunity, so I bring it here. We're still in the recovery phase from Hurricane Melissa. The People's National Party has courted donations from individuals on behalf of that effort. Is it the intention of the opposition to make available to the public what has been collected in terms of the quantum and what that sum has been used for in the spirit of accountability?
Well, the People's National Party has always been very transparent and open with our financial accounting. Annually, that is published, audited financials, and I'm certain that this will form part of that process. In the meantime, we urge the government to be transparent and candid and to tell the nation what they've done with the millions they've raised in the name of Jamaica to build back constituencies such as South St. James. We're still waiting to get some of that.
So, yes, we have put in place a structure. We created a new structure after Melissa with a national disaster risk management committee within the party. There's a chairman who is Fitz Jackson. There's a projects director who is the treasurer of the party, Senator Keisha Anderson. And part of their mandate is to ensure that there's full accountability and accounting for any relief that is administered through the party. So those reports will be prepared and will be made available in the appropriate channels. What I would say is that what we have heard is that there have been many billions of dollars of emergency procurement by the government. Emergency procurement means that there is no proper tendering and you don't know whether you're getting value for money. Now, I'm not saying that the circumstances didn't warrant using that procurement methodology. What I am saying is that the accountability for those resources becomes all the more critical. And we don't know what mechanism the government is going to provide to assure the public that those resources have received value for money. I remember arriving in Black River a few days after Melissa, and I saw a member of parliament, not from St. Elizabeth, on a street corner. And when I asked, I was told trucks were being used for the cleanup. So there you go. From the day one almost, the potential for nepotism, the potential for persons getting the benefit of their inside connections was being manifest. And so I feel that this is very important, and that I ask the media to ensure that they hold, or try their best to hold, those who are responsible for these huge resources being expended are held accountable for how it's being done. Similarly, in relation to the university hospital matter, I realize that the media is fixating on the allegation made by one media house. But when you look at the report, there are many important issues in that report that need to be addressed and should not be swept under the carpet. There are multiple players involved, and it's important that we don't abandon any kind of balance in how we deal with this thing and focus on what is actually before us from a credible source. And the only credible source presently having provided any information to the public on this is the Auditor General through her report. And to the extent that she has findings in there that warrant further investigation, I expect those further investigations to be done by the appropriate authorities.
Well, there you have it, listeners, viewers on our YouTube channel. The response here from Margot. Let me start with no, right? What was that? All of it. Let me start with this first. Mark Goling said something that I think needs to be addressed about there hasn't been proper tendering because of the use of the emergency methodology. I think Mark Goling has been involved with governance long enough to know that the use of the emergency measure in the procurement apparatus does not mean that something is going wrong in and of itself. It does not mean that. Yeah? It does not mean that. So that's the first thing. You can't be saying proper procurement isn't taking place because the procurement systems allow for emergency procurement. So the fact that he's just connecting those two is entirely unfortunate, and it sends the wrong signal. Yeah. So there is that, and of course the passage of Hurricane Melissa left us with an emergency. He left the country with an emergency, right? And those so empowered to scrutinize the awarding of the contract should do so and let Jamaica know if we're in fact getting value for money. But I want to address that. Now, the PNP did commit to making the information available. Yes, they did commit to making the information available. I heard that in the opposition leader's response. I don't think Nikisha Birchall's response was as good as it could be because she went almost immediately. The opposition leader eventually did it as well, but went almost immediately to trying to turn the question onto the government. But the truth is the PNP should give an account for the funds it received, and the media should continue to press for the PNP to make this declaration. The People's National Party is one of the two major political parties in this country, and if they came forward to the public and said, look, outside of what the government is doing, we want to ask people who support the People's National Party to contribute funds so that we can be of assistance to those who've been affected by the passage of the hurricane. Nobody should really have had to ask the PNP this, They should have been advising the public at intervals as to how much they have collected so far and what they intend to do with these funds. They shouldn't wait for Siobhan to bowl this bouncer at them. Nobody should have to ask them to tell us about this. So they've committed to giving the information. Mark Goling did have that in his response, and we should continue to press the People's National Party to come forward and say how much they've collected, and what they intend to do with it. And that should happen before the close of business this week. It should happen before the close of business this week. Yes, if the PNP wishes to maintain its standing in the eyes of Jamaicans, that should happen before the close of business this week. He went on to talk further about the UHWI situation. Perhaps if we have some time, we can take some more of that tape. But we have a caller online. Killer Bean. Bean, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, man. What's on your mind, man?
Okay, sir. How are you doing? I thought it was Mr. Hughes today, but it's not, and it's still okay. All right?
That's all right, man. Yes, man.
Yes. So tell me if you agree with this. Leave I alone. If I don't trouble you, leave I alone, and this world will be like a happy home, and the Lord will walk again in Jesus' name. Amen. Do you agree?
That's quite abstract. I mean, what are you asking me to agree with?
Okay, what I have just said. If I don't trouble you, leave I alone, and this world will be like a happy home. That sounds right to me.
All right. And the greater point you're going on to make is what?
Well, finally, I will just simply say you should just have yourself a wonderful rest of the day and be okay all the way. Goodbye for now.
All right, kid, Mr. B. Oh boy, thank you. Who done it? Good morning to you. You're up next.
Morning, Tyrone. Morning, YouTubers and listeners. Good to see you in good spirit, Tyrone.
we have some of the best callers.
Despite the cold. This must be regarding the hurricane relief. When Siobhan put the question to Mr. Bolden.
Mm-hmm.
It's really acceptable though, because Auntie Favor would have completed her budget in a month or two. I mean,
I'm not so sorry. You should be comparing this to the budget.
But I mean, if you're talking about accountability and transparency, you would have actually have those matters in place prior to start the portal,
Okay. Here's what I would say. I said earlier that they should have been coming to the country at intervals to advise how much they've collected and what they intend to do with it.
Yeah.
That is true. This press conference was perhaps called to address another matter. So they may be able to make the argument that they don't have the information on hand. Let's just give them that, right? So they don't have the information on hand. However, they did commit to making the information available. Now, I'm saying if the PNP are really serious about accountability, that information should be in the hands of Jamaicans before the close of business this week, because inquiries have been made about it. So I don't think it's fair to say that they aren't committed to releasing the information. They did give that commitment, and they should release the information with dispatch. It shouldn't be long. They should release the information quickly this week. No later than this week, they should release that information.
Well, it should be before, because what happened, it must be careful that if persons who can confirm that they transfer to that portal, they can ask their lawyer to take out a lawsuit against them, so they have to be very careful, that's and don't make it reach that stage, you with me? But Tyrone, remember,
I hear you. We've gone past the break. Who done it? Can you hold until we come back?